Rumi will be sharing with us the session 2 on questions unlock everything. Over to you, Miranda.
Yes, okay. Everybody can see me, and can you spotlight me so that I can see my slides as well? Yes, nice. All right. Welcome back, everyone. Let's see if you're all here. Can I see if you're here? You type yes. If you're not here, type no. Let me see what you say. Okay, yes, yes, yes. Okay, we're having about 28, so maybe about 24 participants. With that, yes, yes, yes. Well, all of you that said yes, that means you're here, you're ready, you like it. That's why you're back. And I am so excited to continue with this because we're going to learn a lot, and I'm learning a lot. I've experienced a lot with this even just recently, and I'm going to share with you my insights. So today we are going to, this session today primarily is going to focus on does anybody know what we're focusing on today from your handbook? Can you guess? Just shout it out if you know. What do you think about mentoring? When you think about mentoring, what do you usually think about? Anyone would want to try? When you think about speech mentor, I mean, okay, I already give it a clue. All right, I'll give it to you. Speech mentoring. So today we are going to focus on speech mentoring and using questions to mentor rather than tell. We probably know that most of us would, when we do speech mentoring, we usually think about giving advice, about telling them what they can do better. But today we're going to learn questions, how to use questions to speech mentor, and why it is so much more effective and empowering and help your mentee to grow stronger and faster, and also yourself, make it easier for you. Okay. All right. And okay, I would like also now for you to write just one word about how you are feeling right now. Just one word. Okay, write in the chat so that I know the temperature of the room. How are you feeling right now? Oh, somebody said powerful, excited, awake, peaceful, curious, light, nice. Yeah, okay. Questioning, that means curious, right? Something like that. Okay. Calm, not well, but what is that? Keen to learn, excited and keen to learn. I love that, Patricia. I hope that by the end of this session, you will feel great. Okay? All right. So let's begin. So homework, okay? I know it doesn't sound fun to start with homework, but I think this would be fun because I want to hear what you guys have to share, okay? So I'm going to ask a few people, maybe between 4 and 6, to share. So the question would be like this. What did you notice when you practice deep listening with anyone, not even just your protege? When you practice listening, what do you notice? So if you would like to share, okay. If not, I'm just going to call you up, okay? That's okay, right? In Toastmasters, we're all very brave and like to chat. Ati, what did you notice when you practice deep listening after?
Well, the most interesting is they start, no, not they, she started to talk more. And I don't know how to stop her.
Okay. Okay. All right. Yes.
Yeah.
That is an issue that often comes up when you start to learn to listen. People feel so comfortable and feel so safe talking to you, and then you don't know, like, oh, it's already been an hour and they still have not stopped. What could we do? I will mention a little bit about that. Okay, Ati, I'll get back to you. If not, just raise your hand to remind me before we go to the next session. Okay. My one next follow-up question to you, Ati, is what shifted for you? What
I
shifted for
guess
you?
I think my presence uh triggered her to talk more
Mm,
because
okay.
I realized that my body language was mirroring her body language, and then look at her, and then so kind of like being all present for her. So then I realized, oh, okay, so it's probably because of that. Then she talks more.
Uh-huh. And how did you take that, Ati? Like, how did that shift it for you? Were you surprised or what was it when she talked more? What was that for you?
No, it was for me. I just realized that just by being present, you can actually quote unquote dig deeper to the person's either issues or personality or what have you. So yeah,
Mhm.
but it's just
Yeah.
funny
So you
that
created.
I I feel uncomfortable to stop her.
Okay. All right. So what I'm hearing from Ati is that the way you listened allowed the other person, encourage, in this case, I would say encourage the other person to share more. I would guess that they feel safer to share. Okay. And then it also went deeper. I think that's what you mentioned, the communication or whatever she's sharing. And then Ati found a little snag. I could not stop her. Um, is that because you feel like, oh, I'm already tired, or I'm already like, I've reached my limit? So what was, yeah, with that? But I will get back to that because, yeah.
Thank
You
you.
want to answer that, Ati? When
Uh,
you reached that point, what was going on for you?
it's just that wanted to, not because I'm tired, it's just because I have like follow up questions. But no, I figured that okay, let her talk more. So probably
Yeah,
it was what needed.
that's what was needed. All right. So can I see if anyone else share a similar experience as Ati? You talk to someone and you practice your listening, and then the other person just talk more, much more than you expected, and then you could not follow up with your next questions. Please share with me so that I know if there is similarity with others. Share in the chat, yeah, if that is also your experience. So with that, Ati, I want just to mention this one thing, yeah. There is a way to stop, interrupt, but the better way of doing it is set a time. Yeah, set an agreement in the beginning. Hey, I practice listening, or I have time to listen to you, truly focus for what, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 30 minutes, or an hour. And then when an hour is up, you said, okay, well, I still feel good. We can continue a bit more. And if not, well, my hour is up. Thank you for sharing, and just be kind like that. Okay. So that's one side of it, rather than interrupting. Well, and if you don't interrupt, but you already, like, you cannot sustain it anymore because you're already tired, and then you force yourself, or feeling you don't know how to stop, or would feel impolite, then you continue, but you're already distancing. That would diminish the quality of listening the other person would feel. So it's better to be honest about it. Either you set the time up in the beginning, or I think that's the best way, when you first start listening, because people will want to talk to you. It's better to say, okay, I have 30 minutes to talk, to listen to you, and take your time, right? So that's one side of it. And the other one, you said you want to questions, but you just feel like you didn't have room for that. In that case, I think you did the right thing. You said, okay, she must have so much that she wants to share. So let that be, her agenda rather than your agenda. I need to know, or I want to come. like that. Yeah. Later on, I think in the next session, in session 3, we will learn how to reflect back. And then you can go in and say, okay, this is what I'm hearing, when you can find a space to hear, to get in there. Yeah. But we'll talk about it in the next session. Okay. Yeah, that looks good. All right. Sounds good. Thank you, Ati. One more person. Who would like to share? Or should I call you up? Well, here's a name that shows up to me, a very little window. Emmy. I know Emmy has been entertaining the idea of listening for a long time. So Emmy, let's hear your experience. What did you notice? Did you practice it? First, that's the first question. Did you practice it, Emmy?
I practice, but I feel that I'm still not a good listener yet.
Don't worry about that, because we're going to unpack that, yeah? So you practice. That's the number one thing. And thank you. Kudos to you for taking the opportunity and also being serious about wanting to become a better listener. So you practice. Don't worry about whether it works or not, because this is what we're going to unpack. So my first question is the same as with Ati. What did you notice? What did you notice?
When I listening them, I feel that they feel safe and comfortable. So they cannot stop. They talk all very long because they are so, what we call it, so comfortable to talk and talk. And then,
okay.
Yeah. I'm not patient anyway.
Okay.
To listen, but I feel bad if I
Yeah. So Emmy, just by that, you said that oh, I'm not a good listener yet, but the fact is this person feels very comfortable with you and they want to talk and talk. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I cannot stop. I cannot stop.
So please acknowledge to yourself first. Oh, I think I'm progressing in my listening, rather than saying I'm not a good listener yet. Yeah. So I'm progressing because this person seems to so comfortable in talking to me that they want to continue talking. I would like to congratulate you for becoming a better listener. I know how much you've been wanting to become a better listener. And so now, okay, I'm going to do a follow-up question to you. Yeah? What did you notice in the other person? Okay, you said that they seem comfortable but when you say seem, it's still your perspective. But what did you notice? Do they their face change? Do they get excited? Do they speak faster? What did you notice in the other person?
They speak slow. The more they speak, I notice that they are more trust in me, and they are go deeper, which was I'm afraid. Actually, I'm afraid that I cannot, what we call it, I cannot mendampingi gitu. I cannot accompany them because they go deeper and deeper, which is the topic is more detailed in some case that I don't understand. That's why I choose to, okay, I listen.
Yeah.
Even not all the topic I understand well.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that is progress, Emmy. That is very good. That means you're practicing listening, and your listening is good quality, or good quality enough that you notice they go deeper, they go slower, and they seem to trust you more, because I assume that was because they go deeper, right? They sharing with you deeper stuff that usually maybe are not shared. Is that right, Emmy?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So that is already very good. So that means you're already practicing listening and it works. Okay. So now the thing that you mentioned, like a little bit like Ati, you said that, they keep talking and you don't know how to stop because you feel impolite. And I mentioned exactly to Ati. So next time, now that you know, next time you set a time. Okay. Okay. I have 30 minutes for you. Right? And then when 30 minutes is up, because you already have that agreement, you can remind them, okay, 30 minutes is up. Thank you. That's my capacity for listening to this level at this time. And then the other one about going deeper and revealing, like sounds to me that they trust you, they open up more to you, and you don't know how to handle that. The good news is, Emmy, you don't. You don't have to handle that. Yeah. So you have two options. When you don't understand something, you ask clarifying question. What do you mean by that? Okay. Then they continue all this and this. Okay. All right. And they go deeper and deeper. And then you have a few questions. Look at we will share later a question bank. You can look at that. And one of the things that comes to my mind right now, you don't need to tell them, you don't need to tell me more, because apparently they're already sharing so much. You want to say, like, so how does that feel for you? You know, how does that change for you? Right? What surprised you about that? You know, how do you feel now? Just ask questions like that. You don't have to respond. You don't have to understand what they're saying. Just respond, and then they feel, oh, I feel heard, because all that they really want is feel heard. They don't need advice. They don't need you to say anything smart or any response. They just want to feel heard. That is the most important thing for them. So keep asking, how do you feel? How does that make you know, how does that change things for you? You know, things like that, right? Okay, does that help Ami?
Yeah. I'm surprised if we only listen and don't get involved in their conversation, or if we don't need to be an expert in their problem or their topic. Is that you mean, Miranda?
Yes, exactly. You don't need to be expert. Imagine if we have to be expert in everybody's problems. We will be so busy. We have no time. I mean, you have to first become a coach or psychologist to be able to handle that. So you don't, you know, like you just give the best gift that you can give them. Give the gift of listening. Well done. Well done, Emmy.
Thank you, Miranda.
Yeah. Let's see, what time is it now? If anyone wants to share, I'll give you a chance, but you have to volunteer. Otherwise, I'm going to continue. Anyone would like to volunteer something that you experienced during listening? Okay. You have to speak up, yeah, because I cannot see everybody from my screen, because I have, yeah, I'm being spotlighted. So, okay. Going once, going twice, going thrice. Okay, we continue. Now, next thing that I'm going to ask you, let's see who has had a mentoring conversation, an actually mentoring conversation. You start with your mentee. Can you raise your hand if you have a mentoring conversation? The first mentoring conversation? I don't see anyone. Yeah. Okay. Everybody's a bit shy, I think. Okay. I hope you did. Well, some of you actually did a mentoring practice with your mentee, but if not, I also can presume that you want to practice with somebody. Yeah, and we did say that you can practice with anybody, so that's okay. And the most important thing is that you practice listening and you experience the benefits of listening. And I hope everyone has practiced, and you feel like you become the better because of it. Yeah. So so what we're describing, what you've been describing to me is people opening up, and I didn't ask with you this, but maybe they're starting to find their own answers or starting to understand their issues or their problems better than before they share. Anyone experience that? If you do, please just share in the chat. Yes, I experienced that. They understand their issues better, or they discover their own answers. Yeah. So that is all working. That's your skill working. And now today we are going to add the next layer to that. So listening creates space. Questions fill that space with discovery. Okay, so you learned how to listen and you don't know what to do next, whether to stop them or how to put in the questions. So now understand that the questions, so basically what you have experienced from these two that I have heard is your listening creates space for them, a safe space, a space to express themselves more completely, more openly. Okay, so that is the first part of the skill. And now we're going to look into questions. So that space we can fill that space with discovery, not just for ourselves, and especially not for ourselves, but primarily first for themselves, for the people that you listen to. So this is the beauty of listening. You don't have to do anything. You just ask questions, and then they get the benefits from those questions because they reflect more, they understand more, they probably think about it more, and then they get answers. They get solutions or understanding better what's really going on and maybe more truth. Yeah, isn't that nice? Okay, all right. So now we go to the next part. I hope this goes, okay, we already did. Okay, we already did this part. Now, yeah. So the last session, you gave the greatest gift a mentor can give or a person can give, your presence. And that's what Emmy was saying and Ati was saying, that your presence create that space, that gift. And now, what is the next layer? Let's have a look at it. Okay. Have you ever given advice? Can you share in the chat if you have? Okay, let's just see this, yeah? Why giving advice often doesn't work? I'm asking you first to reflect on yourself. Do you like to receive advice and or you receive advice and you think, well, nah, not really, not for me, and then you just brush it off. So it doesn't really mean much, yeah? And we have in English terms, we have a saying that advice is cheap. It's a dime a dozen. So a dime a dozen is like, let's say, maybe like 1,000 rupees for 12 of them, That's how cheap the advice is. So now I'm going to ask you, do you have this instinct that when someone shares a problem with you, you either do give advice, saying, here, what you should do. 2, share experience. When I face that, and then number 3, offer solutions. Actually, I'm going to ask somebody to read this. Dian Halim. Is Dian Halim there?
Yes.
Dian Halim?
Yes. Okay.
Okay, Dian, could you just read this whole thing, and then I'm going to give you 1 or 2 questions, okay? So can you just read this whole and in your own voice and loudly?
Read what? Read. Sorry.
What's on this on the paper on here right now? Why giving advice on this whole thing? This whole thing next to me.
Why giving advice often doesn't work? When someone shares a problem, our instinct is to give advice. Here is what you should do. Second, share experience. When I faces that, and the last, offer solutions. Have you tried some blah, blah, blah?
Hey,
That's
yeah,
it.
stay there, Dian. Stay there. I'm going to ask you a question. Have you, when someone shares a problem with you, is any of this your go-to? Give advice, share experience, or often solutions? Have you ever done any of this?
I usually give advice. Yes, because
Okay.
yes, I give advice. I mean, I'm usually when I talk with someone, I will give my comments in hurry, something like that. So for me, because one of your task assignment is deep listening, yes, it's make me learn to focus. So, but sometimes when I give advice, my friends or the others is not like they look doesn't like what I said, because they said that it's just, you know, I'm in the problem, so
Yeah,
don't.
Dian?
Yeah. Yes,
Okay, so
Yeah.
the title of this, right? Why giving advice often doesn't work. It's true, right? At least for you.
Yes.
Some of your friends, when
Yes.
you get advice, you don't like. And if I turn it back to you, if you just want to share something and then somebody suddenly gives you advice, do you like that? You probably don't like it either, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Correct. When.
Okay. Yeah. So this is just proves the point. So this is right. So if you experience any of this, please say yes, okay, so that we know. Otherwise, I think like you're such you never give advice. So share in the chat if you had experienced that. So thank you, Dian. I will let you go for now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So now, giving advice often doesn't work. I mean, right, Hugh, you can nod your head if you agree. Hugh? I see you. Okay. All right. So now let's look at the next one. Yeah, Amel agrees with this. Now let's see. And here we look at the other side of it, why advice often doesn't work. All right. So in Dian's case, when she was telling advice, the other person said, no, like I have a problem. So they're not ready for advice. They still probably want to think. Maybe they just want to be heard, sharing what they going through, so that like here, that solution may not fit, but also it robs them of their own discovery. So that is number 4. So let me ask somebody else to read this. Joanna, you're right in front of me. I'm going to ask you to read this whole thing, this whole slide.
Well, okay. Why advice often fails? This often fails because they may not be ready for advice. Number 2, your solution may not fit their situation. Next, advice creates dependency. And the last one, it robs them of their own discovery.
Okay. So out of these 4, so I assume, let me just ask the first question first. Do you have a tendency to give advice when people share their problems?
Well, I mostly, instead of give advice, I mostly share what I used to experience that may be similar to their situation and share my solution
Like
when
this
I
one,
face the same problem.
right?
Yeah.
This one.
Yeah,
Share
yeah, yeah.
experience when I face that.
Yes,
It is also
exactly.
still considered advice.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Indirectly, you're warning to them, this is, this works for me. Okay, listen to this.
Mhm.
So if you apply that, that will help you, right? So which is an advice. So any of this is hidden as an advice, even though it doesn't look like, not all of them like advice, Have you tried, it's like, it's a directing comment. Have you tried this? Have you tried that? It's the same as giving advice, even though you make it a question. All right. So let's say now, yes, you have, you notice, you realize that that is your tendency to share your experience, which is giving advice rather than listening. And so what happens if you give advice? Like advice creates dependency. Have you ever thought about that? Yeah. It makes them dependent on you. And then for me, the most important one, well, I mean, the first 2, not ready, and then the not fitting their situation, are obvious, but the fourth and third and fourth, especially the number 4, it robs them of their own discovery. And this is, it's like you stopping people from being empowered. Okay. And rather than them feeling, oh, so good, I can figure this out, you're giving them, and sometimes, yeah, like they have no choice but to listen to you with your advice. Yeah. So if you, especially now with working with mentees, you want them to grow. You want them to become empowered, feeling more confident. And when people find their own solutions, it gives them confidence that they can sort things out on their own. Yeah, clear? Any question up to this point? Okay, thank you, Hugh. Now we go into questions. So this is the fun part, yeah? So, okay, let me just go back here just a little bit. So just be clear, your job isn't to have all the answers. And that includes when you're listening and you hear them talking about their issues or what their pains are. You don't have, it's not your job to have all the answer. Your job is to ask the questions that help them find their answers. Yeah, we're good so far. Let me see if you guys have been listening to this last part, that your job is to ask the questions that help them find the answers. Give me a thumbs up if you heard that and you like that. Okay. All right. Now I'm starting to see some. Thank you. Thank you, Jason. And who else? That Johanna, Refi. Very good. Okay. So now let's look at these powerful questions. When you ask instead of tell. Okay, I'm even going to start with that. Okay, let me ask somebody to read this. Refi, would you like to read this, Refi?
Right. When you ask instead to tell,
Start with from the beginning.
What powerful questions do? When you ask instead of tell, they discover their own answer and own it. And then you learn what's really going on beneath the surface. You build their critical thinking and self-trust, and you don't have to be the expert on everything. The golden question, what do you think?
Okay, let me ask you just to let that land for you first. Yeah? Okay. So now I'm going to turn it around. When you were asked instead of being told, have you ever experienced that? Rather than somebody telling you what to do, they ask you questions. Which one of these four that you experienced?
Maybe the number 3. I built my own critical thinking and self-trust because I also had the experience to have a mentor before having Toastmasters.
And so when you, thank you for sharing that. So you feel you build your critical thinking and self-trust. How does that make you feel when you find that you are better or stronger in your critical thinking and also trust yourself more? How does that make you feel?
I felt like actually I had a capability to control myself, because before I met my mentor, I was like have not a mistake, but I was lost because I didn't know how to do to solve my problem. And I felt after I discovered there was the question, the answer inside me. Suddenly I started to learn more and asking more to myself before I look for the answer outside. So the answer inside me.
Yeah, I see you're smiling as you're talking that. You would be recalling. That's a great feeling, isn't it? When you realize, oh, I have it inside of me, right? Okay. So now how do you turn that around as a mentor? Do you have a mentee now, or within Toastmasters or outside? Do you have a mentee?
Actually, I become a writing mentor, so I have some private clients in writing classes. So after I joined MTM, the first MTM that I joined, and also the second session now, I felt like I can gain more trust for them, and then they also have more dependency inside them because I listen more, And also I practice to give the question that they can look for to themselves.
Beautiful. Let everyone give Refi a thumbs up or applause, because this is so beautiful. You're applying what you learned and you've gained or you experience the benefits of it. You feel better about being able to be a mentor that asks questions, and then you also see your mentees growing more or developing more and trusting themselves more. Yeah, beautiful,
Yeah.
Refi. Thank you. Thank you. I don't have anything to give you, but I give you my thumbs up. Okay. All right. Okay. Anyone have question? Is that? And okay, if you have question, just ask. Okay, 30 minutes. Yeah. So we're going a bit slower, but these are very, very important questions and topics. So just if you don't know, yeah, questions, what do you think? You know, even if people ask you, what should I do? You can always ask, what do you think? You know, like, I mean, what would work for you? What would you like to do? You know, give them the questions back. Okay, so powerful questions. So ask instead of tell. That will save your life already. And now let's see. Open and close questions. I think most of you already know, right? What open and close questions are. So let me see. Well, Joyce, you want to read this, Joyce?
Okay. The simplest shift you can make, cross shutdown exploration. Did you enjoy the speech? Are you nervous? Have you tried practicing in a mirror? Open, invite discovery, start with what, how, tell me, what if, instead of did, are, is, have. Thank you.
Thank you. So let me ask you some questions, yeah? Joyce, and so now what was your experience with that, Joyce? Do you experience, have you used, which one you use more often? Closed questions or open questions or combination of that? Which one do you like? Let me just ask you that. Which one do you like to use more?
Actually, I prefer open question because the mentee can explore more. Like how, what, tell me about, or something like that.
Okay, so you already experienced that, yeah? So open questions bring more discovery. I think most of you understand that. So if you want to know more, don't ask closed questions. Basically, closed questions is a question that can be answered by what? One word or two words only, and then there's just stop. And then you say, okay, what do I ask next? But if you open question, you use open questions, there are always something from that answer that you can follow up questions, you know, use follow up questions on. Yeah, agree? Okay, thank you, Joyce. All right, clear on this, yeah? It's pretty